The Life of a Great Writer by Bethany Reinhardt. Hello, my name is Bethany Reinhardt. I am 14 years old and I have been a member of Lighthouse 4-H Club for 7 years. And I live in Wayne County, New York. I have done presentations for about 6 years now and I love to do it. My presentation is about Laura Ingalls Wilder, whose family, like many families during the 1800s, moved from place to place to hopefully find a better life. Now before I start my presentation, I would like to tell you why I'm wearing this costume. And the reason why I'm wearing this costume is because I wanted to show you what girls and women wore during the 1800s. Let's start with the family tree. Laura's father's parents were Lansford Whitty Ingalls, who was born in 1812, and Laura Colby, who was born in 1810. Laura's mother's parents were Charlotte Wallace Tucker, who was born in 1809, and Henry Newton Kleiner, who was born in 1807. When Laura's mother, Caroline, was about 5 years old, her father, Henry Newton Kleiner, died in a shipwreck. But later on, Caroline's mother remarried to a Mr. Frederick Holbrook. Laura's father is Charles Philip Ingalls. He was born on January 10, 1836, in Cuba, New York. Laura's mother was born in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin on December 12, 1839. Her name was Caroline Lake Kleiner. Charles and Caroline were married on February 1st in 1860. Laura's siblings. Laura had 4 siblings. The oldest of the 4 was Mary Amelia Ingalls. She was born in Pepin, Wisconsin on January 10, 1865. And here's something about my family. My father was born on Caroline's birthday, and my brother was born on Charles and Mary's birthday. The third girl, Caroline, also known as Carrie, Celestial Ingalls, was born on August 3, 1870 in Montgomery County, Kansas. Then, the first and only son, Charles Frederick, was born. He was born on November 1st in 1875 in Walnut Grove. But sadly, Charles Frederick died in South Troy, Minnesota on August 27, 1876. The last child of Charles and Caroline was Grace Pearl Ingalls. She was born on May 23rd in 1877, and she was born in Burr, Iowa. Laura's husband was Almanzo James Wilder. He was born near Malone, New York on February 13, 1857. Laura's children. The first child of Laura's was Rose Wilder. She was born on December 5, 1886 in De Smet, South Dakota. Then, later on, in August of 1889, Laura had another baby, a baby boy. But sadly, he died soon after he was born. They had not yet named him. Laura's life. Laura Elizabeth Ingalls was born on February 7, 1867 in Pepin, Wisconsin. She was the second child. Laura's early childhood, age 0 to 10. Sometime between 1867 and 1870, the Ingalls family moved to Montgomery County, Kansas. That is where Carrie was born. Then, in 1871, the Ingalls decided to move back to Pepin, Wisconsin. In 1874, Laura's family moved to Walnut Grove, Minnesota. That is where Charles Frederick was born. In 1876, they moved to South Troy, Minnesota. Charles Frederick died there. In 1877, they decided to move to Burr Oak, Iowa. Grace was born while they were there. Laura's middle childhood, age 10 to when she was married. Charles and Caroline decided to move back to Walnut Grove from 1878 to 1879. Later, in 1879, they decided to pack up and move to De Smet, South Dakota. When Laura turned 15, she was able to teach, and she had a few teaching jobs and a seamstress job. And before Almanzo and Laura were married, Almanzo would come Sunday afternoons and take Laura for rides in his buggy. And then, on August 25, 1885, at age 18, Laura Elizabeth Ingalls was married to Almanzo Wilder. In 1886, she has a baby girl. In 1889, they have a son who died. Laura's adulthood, age 19 to 90. Sometime between 1885 and 1890, Laura and Almanzo had some bad crops and a disease called diphtheria. Laura recovered from it well, but Almanzo worked too hard too soon and had some type of a stroke which caused him to walk with a cane for the rest of his life. From 1891 to 1892, they visited Florida because they heard that the warm weather would help him feel better. 2 years later, when they came back, they decided to pack up and move to Mansfield, Missouri. They got to Mansfield on August 30th, 1884 at 11:30. In 1932, Laura's first book was published. That book is Little House in the Big Woods. That is the story of her life in Pepper, Wisconsin. A year later, Farmer Boy was published. This is the story of Almanzo's childhood. In 1935, Little House on the Prairie was published. That book is about Laura and her family's life in Indian Territory. On the Banks of Plum Creek was her fourth book. That is the story of their life in Walnut Grove. Next was By the Shores of Silver Lake. This is the beginning of their life in De Smet, South Dakota. In the long winter, they faced some new hardships. Little Town on the Prairie is when the Ingalls children start to leave home. These Happy Golden Years was published in 1943. This book is when things start to really change. Now, These Happy Golden Years was the last book that Laura had written and published before she had died. But after she died, her daughter Rose found another book, The First 4 Years, and she gave it to an old friend of hers that published it after Rose had died. Laura and Almanzo's death. In October of 1949, at age 92, Almanzo Wilder died. Laura continued to live at Rocky Ridge Farm, and 8 years later, just 3 days after her 90th birthday, Laura Ingalls Wilder died. We've talked about Laura's family, from her grandparents to her child Rose, some of the things that she and her family have been through, and the places that she has moved to. These books are enjoyed by children and adults. The books give us a glimpse of life during the 1800s. I hope you will take the time to read these books and travel back through time. My resources were Inside Laura's Little House by Caroline Strong Collins and Christina Weiss Erson, Laura's Album by William Anderson, and all the Little House on the Prairie books by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.